And I tell you, these documents we just have, show you just how awful things have been for this president. I'm surprised, it's a testament to him personally that he's been able to kind of push through these attacks on him and do the basics of his job. Because I think there would be other people who would have resigned rather than deal with this. This new document shows that Rod Rosenstein sent an email to Robert Mueller saying the boss doesn't know about their communications. This is before he was appointed. So Rod Rosenstein was secretly communicating with Mueller without the quote boss knowing it. Who was the boss? Was it Sessions at the time? Was it the president? He also sent another email to someone in the outside. This is classic. I think he appointed him the day after this email was sent. I am with Mueller. He shares my views. Duty calls. Sometimes the moment chooses us. What on earth does that mean other than he and Mueller are anti-Trumpers? How would you interpret that? I read it to you. How would you interpret it? That's what I love about what Judicial Watch does. We get the emails. You can see them. I interpret this to mean that they're anti-Trumpers. And he's having secret communications with Mueller, keeping him away from his boss. They also show, and these documents, again, we had sued for these documents as part of our investigation into, what's the name of that movie, The 7 Days in May? There were this period in May of 2017 during which Comey was fired, and then they appointed the special counsel. And in between, there were these coup discussions that Judicial Watch through this law, because we wanted to know what was going on, because we found out through leaks that they had discussed wearing a wire in the president in the Oval Office, invoking the 25th Amendment lawlessly to try to remove him, and appointing a special counsel, all as part of the coup discussions. And of course, the only thing they did specifically that we know about is that Mueller was appointed. So just remember, Mueller was appointed rising from discussions about how to remove the president from office, both lawlessly, all lawlessly in my view. And of course, all of that was precipitated by James Comey stealing Trump's FBI files and leaking them to the media. Crime on top of crime led to Mueller's appointment as part of an effort to remove him from office. Dare I say it, coup-like activity? So we had sued for these documents. No one else is asking for them. You've got the Attorney General of the United States, for the practical purposes, acting Attorney General, acting FBI Director, talking about targeting Trump with a wire in the Oval Office. We've got the memo. I talked about it with you. Andrew McCabe wrote it. And the memo makes it clear Rosenstein wasn't being sarcastic. And certainly we have other documents showing they talked about the 25th Amendment. Now we have the shady communications with Mueller. They also show that Rosenstein had cozy relationships with the anti-Trump media, talking to the New York Times directly, talking to 60 Minutes directly, talking to the Washington Post directly, and they are cheerleading him on. Rosenstein writes his friend in the Washington Post, Sari Horowitz. I don't know, literally they're friends, but this is a friendly email. At some point, I owe you a long story, Rosenstein writes, but this is not the right time for me to talk to talk to anybody. Horowitz had written, now I see why you couldn't talk today, which implies he's talked to him before. Obviously, we're writing a big story about this. Is there any chance I could talk to you on background about your decision? Why would he communicate with them? Or I'm not sure Sari is a woman or a male, a male or female name. Listen to the 60 Minutes communication. Catherine Davis, 60 Minutes producer. Good call on Mueller. Although I obviously thought you'd be great at leading the investigation too. So the Deputy Attorney General of the United States is talking to the media, getting cheered on by the anti-Trump media, talking to Mueller secretly without, quote, the boss knowing about it. Why did they need to keep it secret from the boss? And who is the boss? And what does he mean that he shares Mueller's views? Mueller is a never-Trumper. Mueller doesn't like President Trump. Otherwise, why would he have abused his office to target him so lawlessly for 2 years? Judicial Watch got this, folks. Not Congress, not the media. It wasn't disclosed voluntarily by the Justice Department. We had to go into federal court. Well, I don't know when we went in, but we asked for the document a year ago. We asked for this material a year ago. We're only getting it. This is the final production a few days ago. And we obviously didn't get everything we asked for, so there'll be more fighting there. But isn't this astonishing material? It confirms the dishonest corruption behind Rosenstein's appointment of Mueller. It shows this cozy relationship between Rosenstein and the media. Do you think it's appropriate for the number two of the Justice Department to be working hand in glove with the media, even on so-called innocent stories? Because he was confirming basic facts, which to me shows that he had a long-standing relationship with these folks. He was a go-to source for them. So if you want to know who was leaking, we got it. New York Times called me asking me about why I'm calling it a coup. And I said, well, maybe the New York Times will finally cover the email, the memo that we have with Andrew McCabe talking to the Deputy Attorney General of the United States about wearing a wire on the President in the Oval Office. Doesn't that sound like a coup to you? And removing him under the 25th Amendment. Doesn't that sound like a coup to you? And now they're having impeachment / non-impeachment to railroad the president out of office. You know what? I'm going to stand up against it. Judicial Watch is going to sue to find out what's really going on. And I don't care what the media thinks about it. I don't care what the so-called experts think about it. I know what the documents are. We've been litigating this. Everything we know virtually, or too much of what we know, is because of our litigation on this. And I don't care if a member of Congress doesn't call it a coup or the leadership gets nervous about it. I don't care about that. Because I'm going to call it the way I see it. And I don't use words like that lightly. I don't think I started calling it a coup until late last year. I've been talking about the criminality of the seditious attack on Trump for some time, but I didn't start using the word coup until it became quite evident what was going on. Maybe I even waited too long to call it a coup.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.